Almaghrib Institute. So this is what they have on their Instagram page. Can I say Happy New Year? Is it okay for Muslims? So I've been calling this like an insta fatwa because that's the way that they are conveying religious knowledge is through Instagram. They're using glamour models for their insta fatwas, and I thought we were past that. I thought that we had shamed these quote unquote Islamic institutes into not using this tactic anymore. Like, why are you still putting models for your classes, for your institutes? You're using deliberately attractive young women. Yeah, they're covering their hair, but that's not the concept of hijab. The concept of hijab is not a scarf over your head, it's modesty. And the exact opposite of modesty is bringing an attractive young woman, bringing a close up of her face, smiling, looking deeply into the camera. That's the exact opposite of modesty. Like, what are you trying to project? It's such a destruction of the concept of a fatwa. It's a destruction of the concept of halal and haram. And this is really an attack on Islam, as we'll see. Ever said Happy New Year and got attacked for it? It happens a lot. But what's the real issue? So already they're setting up a kind of good Muslim, bad Muslim dichotomy. This is a common theme among some of these institutions, these liberalized institutions like Al-Maghrib. They portray conservatism and traditionalism as being intolerant and aggressive and angry and irrational. It's about culture, not religion. The New Year is a cultural event based on the Gregorian calendar. Although celebrating with lavish parties or rituals isn't part of Islam, there's nothing wrong in saying Happy New Year. So just step back for a minute and analyze like what is happening here. First of all, this dichotomy between culture and religion, this is a false dichotomy. Who says that just because something is cultural, that means it's halal? Oh, it's just about culture. When it's Western culture, they're fine with culture. Oh, this is just cultural. But if it's something that is Islamic, but it's not practiced in the West, for example, niqab, like women covering their face, then they say, oh, that's just cultural. We shouldn't be doing those kinds of things. So this is the kind of hypocrisy. They're giving the impression in this insta fatwa that, oh, it's cultural, it's fine. New Year's is cultural. And then they mix in this question of, well, what about celebration? Celebrating with lavish parties or rituals isn't part of Islam. Okay, that's confusing. Like, is that your fatwa? Like, it's haram to have a lavish party? Whoever said that? Like, you can have a lavish gathering as long as it abides by Islamic guidelines with your friends, with your bros, get together, or women get together and they have a very lavish. What's wrong with that? That's not haram. So why are you saying that that's not part of Islam? If it's rituals, well, rituals for Happy New Year, didn't you just say that they're cultural? Like it's a cultural thing? So what's wrong with cultural rituals? Saying Happy New Year, that's a ritual. Like greeting with a certain specific greeting, that's a kind of ritual. You said that's cultural. It's fine. There's no problem, right? There's nothing wrong in saying Happy New Year. So this is completely confused already. The problem isn't in the words. It's how much time, money, and energy people spend celebrating something that doesn't benefit anyone. So that's the problem with New Year's. Again, celebrating is not against Islam. Celebrating is not haram. You can celebrate many different things, like getting married. A lot of families, they have celebrations when their children memorize Quran, or even read, like when they complete reading through the Quran for the first time. Children, especially in South Asian culture, they have like a celebration. They have like a get together. They invite family. They have delicious food. Or what about when a child is born, the Haqiqah, and you bring, delicious food to share, and you can be lavish with that. There's nothing wrong with spending time, money, and energy celebrating something that doesn't benefit anyone. Who determines what is beneficial or not? So what is the logic here? They don't give any logic. There's no citations from any kind of authoritative source, any kind of Quran or Sunnah, nothing. While the world celebrates, many are struggling to eat, surviving wars, hoping for better health and education. So again, like, what is the meaning of this? You can say Happy New Year's, but we draw the line at celebrating it. We draw the line of actually having a party. But notice how they're not coming out and saying it's haram. This is impermissible. You cannot have this kind of party. They're saying that basically this violates a kind of social consciousness. This violates a type of care for the needy. So again, this is confusing because other types of celebrations are perfectly fine. Other types of celebrations, even if someone else around the world is starving, that doesn't mean you have to starve. That doesn't mean that you can't celebrate your wedding. You can't celebrate the birth of your child. You can't celebrate a graduation. That doesn't mean it becomes haram. So the logic here is completely messed up. Saying Happy New Year is fine. This is the new lingo for fatwa. It's fine. Don't worry about it. They can't say halal or haram. It's fine. You don't want to make it too preachy. You don't want to make it too much of a religious vibe. We want a nice chill vibe, but I guess it would be too far. Like intolerant mullahs, bigots like Daniel would have a problem if you said that, oh, celebrating New Year's is fine too. They don't say it's haram. Don't celebrate because think of the children. Think of the starving children. Think of the war zones. So I'm not saying it's bad. Like, yeah, we have to advocate for any kind of social cause, the Palestinian cause in particular. But why are you trying to conflate everything? Why are you trying to mix everything up and make it seem like Islamic morality is tied to social justice? No, Islamic morality has to do with what pleases Allah, what Allah wants, what Allah approves of and accepts, and what He prohibits. That's the core of Islam, not what has impact. What kind of Islamic message is this? If you want to read like an actual scholarly treatment of this question, go to MuslimSkeptic.com and we have this article, Greetings and Congratulating Non-Muslims on Their Holidays, Halal or Haram. So check that out and you can see that, no, it's not allowed. This is kind of a modern push to get Muslims to secularize by celebrating non-Muslim holidays, and no scholar has really seriously in our tradition has accepted this. You only have modernists who are pushing this based on faulty fiqh, faulty ijtihad that is clearly wrong. This is a mockery. They're making a mockery of Islam. They're making a mockery of the Sharia.